It's the Orioles on Masson. Tonight, the final game of 3 between the Orioles and the Atlanta Braves. Well, it marks the final regular season game that the O's will play against a team from the NL East. And we welcome you in, everybody. Jeff Arnold with you from Camden Yards. The Orioles, they have been a very streaky offense the entire year. You have seen it over the course of the first 2 games of this series. And as you take a look at some of the numbers, you have seen an offense that has gone in 2 completely different directions. 14 runs in game number 1. That was a season high. You were great with runners in scoring position, and you got a great start from Jorge Lopez as well. 7 innings of 1-run baseball. A little bit of a different story yesterday. But as you take a look at the 2 numbers, you are seeing kind of a microcosm of what this year is. Ben McDonald, when you have youth, you're going to see some ups and downs.
No doubt about it. And I think that's the key. It's a young team. We know that. I mean, it's one of the youngest teams in all of Major League Baseball. And look, we've seen this offense be as good as anybody's at times this year. But there's also times like 5 of the last 6 games, they've scored 1 run or less in 5 of the last 6. So it's up and down. It's peaks and valleys. And that's what you're going to get. I mean, if you put it in perspective, Nick Markakis has more base hits than this entire active 28-man roster the Orioles have. So that kind of gives it an idea. You take Jose Iglesias out of the mix, there's not a whole lot of big league at-bats in that lineup.
Yeah, and there are also not a whole lot of big league starts in the starting rotation as well. Keegan Aiken tries to bounce back after his last outing against the Yankees.
Yeah, it was a rough one for him his last time out, but don't forget the 2 outings before that. His 2 starts before that, he was really good. Did not allow an earned run. That pitch right there for me is the key, the changeup. I love how he challenges with a fastball. He'll throw that fastball both in and out. It has some nice analytics to it, but also the ability to land the off-speed pitch, and that's, again, is going to be the key for him. He didn't have a whole lot of luck his last start landing that off-speed pitch, but if he can get the changeup, the breaking ball going with a really good fastball, he can give you some depth in 5 or 6 innings tonight. No doubt about that.
And tonight, the Orioles will be facing a starter who has got a lot of experience in Cole Hamels. He makes his season debut tonight. Orioles a try for a series win against Atlanta next on Masson. Orioles Baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Big heart and low fares. Book now at southwest.com. Final game of 3 between the Orioles and the Atlanta Braves. Here is the lineup for Brian Snitker tonight. Ronald Acuna Jr. leads things off in center field. Freddie Freeman with a 31-game on-base streak is second, while Marcell Ozuna carries an 8-game hitting streak in the final game of this set. Travis d'Arnaud out of the DH spot tonight. Dansby Swanson back at shortstop. Adam Duvall is in right field. Austin Riley at third base. Tyler Flowers behind the plate for the first time in this series. And Ozzie Albies at second.
And they'll take their swings off to 25 left-hander Keegan Aiken, 25 years old now, from Alma, Michigan, drafted by the Orioles in the 2nd round out of Western Michigan back in 2016. And so far this year, 16 strikeouts in 13 2/3. He's only allowed 11 hits. Circle the walks, 8 walks. That can be an issue from time to time, but the stuff has been really good for Keegan Aiken. He's looking to bounce back after a little bit of a rough start his last time out.
So Acuna falls behind at 0-1, and Aiken was also not helped out by his defense either. You heard Bordy say it. As there is strike 2, 0-2 against Ronald Acuna Jr. Made a couple of mistakes that very well could have gotten him out of that first inning.
Yeah, that last start against the Yankees, and you're right, there was a couple of plays the Oriole defense kind of let him down on. Missed cutoff man, maybe a pop-up that should have been caught along the way, but also, he didn't make some pitches either, and that's always, you know, it goes both ways. The defense has got to pick you up, but you got to be able to pick the defense up from time to time as well.
Acuna fouls this one away. And when you get to right around 40 pitches, then you know that it hasn't quite been your inning. And Brandon Hyde said it after the game that he just didn't want Aiken going past that. Starts things off nicely this evening. Acuna punched out.
That's what I love about these young pitchers. Dean Kramer, Keegan Aiken, not afraid to do this. Use the inside part of the plate with your best pitch, your fastball. He dots an eye on the inside corner and gets Ronald Acuna Jr. looking for the first out of the game.
Pitch is high to Freeman. 1 ball and no strikes. Matty Freeman, big series, 5 for 8. Home run, 3 driven in. He's hit safely in his last 10. And has reached base in his last 31 games. That is the longest active streak in the majors. Fouls it back.
Well, here's the defense behind Keegan Aiken for the Orioles. Ryan Mountcastle back out in left field. You see Austin Hayes in center tonight. DJ Stewart in right. Your double play combination, Iglesias and Vasquez. Hanser Alberto over at third base. Pat Valleca at first, and Pedro Severino behind home plate for the Orioles.
Full count. Orioles are trying to take the rubber game in this series. They are 1-1 in rubber games this year. Atlanta is 3-0 in rubber tilts this season. And Aiken hands out a walk to Freeman, so he extends the on-base streak with a first-inning walk against Aiken.
Well, we talk a lot about Aiken's spin rate. He can spin. You see the breaking ball, the slider at 2479, the fastball 2400, and the changeup at 2035. And that is StatCast powered by Google Cloud.
He'll be making just his 4th major league start in comparison to Cole Hamels, who is starting for the Braves tonight. Severino knocks it down, and Freeman not going anywhere. By comparison, Cole Hamels making start number 422 of his career.
Well, Pedro Severino's had his struggles with these types of balls, but he plays that one perfectly. Knocks it down, kills it right in front of home plate. Freddie Freeman not able to advance an extra 90 feet.
Ozuna takes a strike. Call that one as a good pitch. Looked like it was a little bit off the outside corner, and Brennan Miller looks like he's got a little bit of a wider strike zone to start things off tonight. Never hurt anyone. There, Aiken tied him up. It's 1-2.
So changeup away for a strike one, and then a fastball in. So change in speeds for Keegan Aiken. You know, I think umpires a lot of times too in the first inning, especially the top half of the first inning, they just trying to figure out their strike zone too.
Ozuna puts it in the air to right field. Back goes Stewart on the track, has room, makes the catch, and Freeman back to first base. Second out of the inning, and we'll send up Travis d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud has been the catcher the previous 2 nights, but is out of the DH spot today. Hitter that you've got to be careful against. He's got career highs in batting average, slugging, on base percentage this year, while Atlanta Braves offense in the month of September has been very impressive. They have averaged over 7 runs per game this month.
I'm telling you, and coming into this series, their last 5 games, they were averaging 10.5 runs a game. And that's why when you think about what Jorge Lopez did in game 1 of this series, and I mean, he stuffed them. It was impressive because it was, and it still is, the best offense in all of Major League Baseball. 5.8 runs per game, just ahead of the San Diego Padres. So it's top to bottom. There is really no weaknesses in this lineup at all. They can all bang it.
That is laced, and it is a foul ball.
You mentioned d'Arnaud. I mean, he's a guy picked up. They thought they were getting a really good defensive catcher because that's kind of what he's been throughout his career. He flashed some pretty good offensive numbers last year, but not anything like they thought they were getting. And boy, he has been really good, and he fits right in this lineup too, sitting in the 4-hole.
The offense, a big reason why Atlanta 29-20. Great pitch by Aiken. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and it's a 3.5 game lead on the Marlins in second in the NL East.
Yeah, the Braves trying to win the National League East for the 3rd consecutive year. They have positioned themselves to do so.
Hit on the ground and through the right side. d'Arnaud's got a single with 2 strikes, and the Braves 2 men on with 2 out for Swanson.
This has kind of been the difference for d'Arnaud right here. The ability to shoot the ball the other way. Mostly a pull hitter throughout his career, but that's a pretty nice job. And he got the changeup before that, so he's sitting back a little bit, really respecting an off-speed pitch. And so enough bat to get the ball, the fastball to right field. And an off-speed pitch, might have had a chance of staying on that one as well.
Brings up Dansby Swanson, who has been a little bit colder at the plate recently. Last night, Swanson, he snapped an 0 for 18 skid. Just 1 for 7 over the course of the series. It's that one foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Keegan Aiken seeing if he can strand runners at first and second base.
Yeah, this first inning's so important for him, just because in the back of a young pitcher's mind, you remember your last time out. You remember the fact that you couldn't get out of the first inning, so it's always in the back of your mind, even when you're warming up. And if he can navigate through this and put a 0 up, go a long way for his confidence.
Jumps ahead 1-2 against Dansby Swanson. So a couple of years ago, Aiken was asked what was his biggest strength as a pitcher, and he said having a short memory.
That is always a good thing, especially if you're a reliever. If you're a starter, you got 4 days to kind of think about it a little bit, make some adjustments along the way, but as a reliever, you have none.
Well, he bookends the inning with strikeouts, takes care of Swanson, leaves 2 on base. Orioles coming up against Cole Hamels. Nothing our score as we start the bottom of the first inning. The Orioles lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Big heart and low fares. Book now at southwest.com. Hanser Alberto out of the leadoff spot tonight. Jose Iglesias has been swinging it well recently. 4-hit game in game 1. Ryan Mountcastle third, while Pedro Severino cleans up. Renato Nunez, DJ Stewart, Pat Valaika, Austin Hayes, and Andrew Velazquez against the veteran Cole Hamels.
36-year-old Cole Hamels from San Diego, California. First-round pick way back in 2002 by the Phillies in his 15th big league season. First appearance of the year, and first as a Brave as well. Got a sore tricep way back in spring training, then had shoulder inflammation in summer camp and just never really could get it going. But they desperately need another arm in this rotation for the Braves, and a lot of experience, as you mentioned. 163 career victories, a 3.4 career ERA.
Jumps ahead of Alberto, 0-2. And the thing that the Braves really liked about Cole Hamels, a lot of experience in the playoffs and a lot of success too.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy that was a World Series MVP back in 2008, been a 4-time All-Star as well. So you talked about the experience.
Alberto out to Swanson, who makes the play for out number 1.
Well, here's Cole Hamels' average pitch velocity. You see the fastball, both a 2 and a 4-seamer, just over 91 miles an hour. The cutter at 87, a changeup and a curveball to go with it. So he's got all the pitches and a ton of experience.
Last year, the whiff rate on the changeup was 44%, while in his career, it has been the changeup, which has been his best pitch. 40% swing and miss rate, which is excellent. Faces Iglesias. And Hamels misses high. 1 ball and no strikes. Hamels expected to go about 55 to 60 pitches tonight, and then he'll gradually go about 10-15 pitches more in each of his next couple of outings before the year is over. 1-1.
And if you hadn't followed it, the Braves have had a rash of problems in their starting rotation this year. Soroka blew out an Achilles early, one of their best pitchers. Max Fried is on the IL, but expected back soon. Of course, Felix Hernandez opted out, COVID reasons, and Hamels is just now coming back. So 4 of those 5 starters have been out for some time. Good news for him. Ian Anderson, Kyle Wright. We saw Huascar Noah as well. Some guys getting some opportunities, but their starting pitchers have not been good this year.
Iglesias with a base hit. So Jose Iglesias, multi-hit game last night. Puts 1 on.
There's the Braves defense behind Hamels. Marcell Ozuna in left field. Ronald Acuna Jr. in center. Adam Duvall over in right field. Swanson and Albies, your double play combination. The youngster Austin Riley at third. Freddie Freeman over at first. And Tyler Flowers gets to start behind home plate for the Braves.
Sends up Ryan Mountcastle back in left field tonight for the Orioles after he had his first big league start at first base yesterday. Hamels misses inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Mountcastle's going to be seeing more time at first base. Got a bunch of talented outfielders They're homegrown for the Orioles right now, trying to get everybody in the lineup. So for Mountcastle, it'll mean more time at first base, some time at DH. Today you got Mountcastle in left, Austin Hayes is in center, you got Stewart in right. Cedric Mullins not making the start today.
Well, with the left-handed Hamels right on the mound, Mullins obviously a switch hitter, but from the right side has not been nearly as good.
Flared out to shallow left. Swanson takes care of it, and there's the second out. Now the Orioles, here's a look at the numbers against left-handers and right-handers. With runners in scoring position, things are a little bit better against righties, but when you look at it, not a massive difference between the two.
No, it's not a huge difference. I mean, if you look at the Braves, there's a pretty big difference between left-handed and right-handed pitchers. Not so much when they come to winning ball games, but you see the average leaders, Iglesias, Alberto, Mountcastle, all wearing out the left-handed pitchers.
Brings up Pedro Severino. Snapped an 0 for 11 stretch last night. Takes a look at a strike, 0-1. Batting average at .297. Though maybe it's a stretch that's been a little bit on the slower side, it has still been an impressive year for Severino. A hitter that last year said it was a goal of his to work on his hitting and show he could hit at the major league level. And in 2020, he has shown that it is no fluke.
And again, a young team, a team still learning in so many ways. I mean, you talk about big league at bats. I mean, that's what it takes, is just going out and accumulating innings for a pitcher, accumulating at bats. Brandon Hyde touched on it a little bit, but for me, I mean, for a hitter, until you get 12, 13, 1,400 at bats at the big league level, I think that's when the light bulb really comes on. You begin to get pretty consistent. And there's only one player in that lineup right now for the Orioles, and that's Jose Iglesias. He's got nearly 3,000 at bats. But plus, besides that, there's not anybody in this lineup with more than about 900 big league at bats.
Foul tipped into Flowers' glove. So Iglesias is left at first base. We're through one. No score.
Scoreless, top of the second inning at Camden Yards, and as long as we're still talking about the surplus of outfielders here, especially the homegrown guys, wondering who's on first, I think it's important to pause here and think about Trey Mancini a little bit, because he fully expects to be in that mix at spring training. His last chemotherapy treatment is coming up on Monday, 6 months removed from colon cancer surgery. I've talked to him. He said he feels fantastic. Always, run down, no appetite for 3 or 4 days after those treatments, and then it builds back up. He's been playing tennis. He's running. He's found a workout program to kind of get him back into baseball shape. Obviously, that'll intensify after that last treatment. But he says he's been feeling fantastic. He goes, if you saw him right now, you would never know what he's been putting his body through. So I don't think you're going to find better news than that right there. That Trey Mancini is down to that last chemotherapy treatment. He feels great, and he's really looking forward to spring training and being back with this club, corner outfield, first base.
Great news for a great guy, and it's one of the big stories of the year, just how the Orioles have performed without Trey Mancini. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be encouraged, and with the Orioles putting up the numbers that they have in the 2020 season, even though Mancini has not been available.
I think you had to wonder in spring training. I think everybody wondered, right? I mean, Trey Mancini goes down. You miss all the home runs, the RBIs. You miss the leadership in the clubhouse from a guy that's been around. Jonathan VR was gone, traded away in the offseason. That was 2 of your big spark plugs to your offense last year. So we were all sitting around in spring training scratching your head going, okay, where is the offensive production going to come from? But overall, when you look at the numbers, 4.8 runs a game, that sits right in the middle of the American League. And like we talked about, this offense at times this year has been as good as anybody's out there. It's just missing some consistency along the way, which will come with at bats. But all in all, we see the improvements from a pitching staff. We see improvements from an offense. We see young players continue to develop, and that's what it's all about.
And this is an offense that 2 nights ago scored 14 runs against the Braves. Strike 3 call. Keegan Aiken with his 3rd punch out of the night.
Boy, it throws his best fastball of the night, too, as far as velocity goes, and you can't argue with the location of it, too. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. You see Pedro Severino set up just on the outside part, exactly where it is delivered. Can't do it much better than that.
And he pulls the string and a changeup, and Riley falls behind 0-1. I think it'll be mostly 92, 93, but every once in a while he can go a little deeper into the tank.
Yeah, and because of the spin rates that we showed you, his above average fastball spin rate, which means it just kind of stays on plane a little bit longer than most fastballs. And it may say 92, 93, but it's playing a little bit better than that because it's spinning so good.
And he drops in a breaking ball, and Riley down on strikes.
So starts him with a changeup away that Riley swings through and finishes him with this good breaking ball. Look at that one. Starts in the zone, but down and in underneath the bat of Austin Riley for yet another strikeout. His fourth strikeout, third in a row.
Looked like the curveball there from Keegan Aiken, who has begun to work that pitch into his repertoire. It was an offering that he started working on in the offseason. Chris Holt, the Orioles director of pitching, showed him some different grips. He's been toying around with it. He'll still throw the slider more, but every once in a while that's something he can go to as well. Strike two.
Well, it's good to have 4 pitches, maybe 5 pitches as a starter, because very seldom do you get them all going in one night. You know, you're lucky if you have 5 real pitches and maybe you can land 3 of them that particular night. That's a pretty good night. But there's going to be nights when the breaking ball's not there, the curveball, you got to go to the cut fastball. Right now, Keegan Aiken's got everything going.
Strikes out the side of the second inning, middle of the second, scoreless game. Maryland Lottery's contestants of the game, Heather Ridgely from Woodstock and Marie Hopper from North Ocean City, have won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play any fast play game at any Maryland Lottery retailer for a chance to win up to $100,000 or more. Here's Jim Palmer, and we will be, his statue at least, we'll be talking to Jim Palmer in the 3rd and 4th innings tonight. Excited to be chatting a little bit of pitching with him. I'm sure he was pretty impressed by that second inning of Keegan Aiken. 12 pitch inning. Aiken got his last 2 strikeouts on 6 combined pitches. Renato Nunez will start the inning off. Iglesias had a single in the first for the Orioles, but nothing more. Hamels misses inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Nunez, Stewart, and Valleca in this inning against Hamels, who had a pretty quick first. This is inside. 2 balls and no strikes.
That's the cut fastball. So Hamels has got them all. A 2-seamer and a 4-seam fastball. One he'll ride up in his zone. One he'll sink. That cut fastball. The changeup you mentioned earlier, which is a really good swing and miss pitch for him, and a traditional curveball as well.
Nunez pops this one up. Another chance for Swanson. And he puts it away for out number 1. As we prepare for 2021, we are dedicated to protecting the health and safety of all fans, including protecting the investment of your Birdland membership. Each membership comes with O'Surance, a new fan assurance benefit included with every ticket purchase. Place your deposit for the 2021 season before November 30th and receive a 15% bonus credit. For more information on O'Surance, visit Orioles.com/O'Surance for details. 1 away for DJ Stewart. It's it on the ground. Albies knocks it down and then shovels to Freeman for the second out.
Well, Cole Hamels is that veteran pitcher that can really take advantage of a young lineup like the Orioles. And I think the Renato Nunez at bat was a perfect example of that. He threw 2 balls to go 2-0. And Renato thought he was going to get a good fastball down the middle, but instead kind of turns over a changeup, takes a little bit off, and gets a weak fly ball. And so that's what veteran pitchers will do to younger guys. And the approach off of Cole Hamels really should be for the Orioles is try to use the opposite field. Try to sit back and use the opposite field. It is much harder to do than it is to talk about it for sure, but that's got to be the approach off him because he's not going to give in a whole lot. He's not going to throw you any cookies.
And it kind of goes back to as well understanding what parts of the strike zone you excel in, and if you get a pitch in that spot, you got to let it rip. You can't be chasing too much against Hamels.
Patiently aggressive. Don Long talks about being ready to hit when you step in the box, but all that means too is understanding, like you're talking about, all right, I'm gonna look for this pitch in this situation. When I get even counts or when I'm ahead in the count, I can really look for a certain pitch in a certain area, but are you disciplined enough if you don't get that pitch to lay off of it? And that's kind of the problem the Orioles have had as of late, kind of chasing some balls in plus counts.
Laid off that changeup. One and two against Pat Valaika. He's the first baseman tonight. And there he chases a changeup, dipping down and away. 1-2-3, bottom of the second for Hamels. Nothing, going to the third. We're going to play in the regular season against a team from the National League East. 10-9 record, and offensively, Orioles have done very well against the division from the other league.
Yes, they have. How about that batting average? 288. Look at the runs per game. A little over 6 runs per game. ERA not bad either, 4.42.
Orioles, they put up winning records against the Nationals, were 4-2, and then they swept the Phillies in 3 games played at Citizens Bank Park. Tonight have a chance for a series win against the Atlanta Braves. Orioles won the first one, Braves won last night.
Keegan Aiken just continues to fill up the strike zone. You mentioned the way he finished the bottom of the second. 6 pitches, 2 punch outs, and here he is ahead 0-2 to Albies.
That is the 3rd strikeout in a row on 3 pitches.
And 5th consecutive strikeout for the 25-year-old Keegan Aiken. Watch this pitch. Just paints the inside corner. That one there will hurt your feelings. Nothing Albies can do with that one. So still using the inside part of the plate is Keegan Aiken. And hitters just don't like the ball in, especially with 2 strikes, because a lot of them are taught to respect the off-speed pitch, look for the off-speed pitch. When they begin to do that with 2 strikes, you can really work the inside part of the plate.
And we've got the Hall of Famer Jim Palmer with us tonight. And Jim,
hi guys.
You're watching Keegan Aiken so far. How impressive has this been to watch over these first couple of innings?
Well, a lot better than up in Yankee Stadium. Second time he faced the Yankees when they didn't play very well defensively. But, well, you know, again, it's a game of adjustments. You throw 39 pitches. They don't help you out with the gloves. You know, Ruiz dropped the ball. They threw the ball the wrong bases, and then comes back. It's like it never even faced him.
Yeah, he just decided to strike everybody out tonight. That's one way you don't have to worry about the defense a whole lot.
Well, Ben, you know about that.
Another strikeout, this time against Ozzie Albies, or against Ronald Acuna.
Well, he's got them all going tonight. Change-ups, breaking balls. There's a big breaking ball there. So we see a tight one every now and then. That takes a little bit off and kind of loops it in. Wasn't a great pitch, but because it started out of the zone and something that Acuna hasn't seen yet. So 6 consecutive strikeouts now.
Freeman sends it foul down the line. Jim, what do you make of Aiken kind of adding a curveball into the mix to go along with his fastball, slider, changeup?
Well, you know, I think, and you know, Ben has talked about this in his couple of starts, is, you know, he came through AA with a great fastball last year, live ball down at AAA Major League Baseball. So a lot more curveballs, sliders, trying to pitch versus maybe just throw the ball by people. But the key tonight is you don't strike people out unless you throw strike one. So again, when you have a good fastball and a changeup, which is what he didn't have in New York, but he has tonight, and you throw strike one, again, that wasn't a perfect curveball at Albies, but it was just close enough. It was almost a backup curveball. He kind of tried to protect because of the fact he had 2 strikes, and he ends up striking himself out.
5 straight first pitch strikes from Keegan Aiken. See if he can dispose of Freeman, who walked his first time.
Cakes, how you pitch a guy like Freeman? Seems like nobody can get him out last year. Not many have gotten him out this year either.
Well, you do it exactly the way it is. Nobody on. Let him hit a single to the left. He's that good a hitter, especially this year.
Freeman with 7 multi-hit games in his last 8.
Yeah, now he's had 2 hitting streaks this year of double digits. Had 16 games early in the year. Got to 10 games in a row last night. Only 4 guys in baseball have had 2 hitting streaks of double digits this year.
Hits one out to right. Stewart tracks it down. So Keegan Aiken continues to roll along. Middle of the 3rd inning. No score. Friday, the Orioles will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the 1970 World Series. The Orioles taking on the Cincinnati Reds and collected a World Series title. One of the ones that pitched in that was Jim Palmer. It was kind of the coming out for Brooks Robinson, who was the human vacuum cleaner over at third base in that series. The Orioles, of course, winning the title that year. Jim Palmer is with us, and Jim, 50 years celebration of the 1970 World Series. What did that World Series mean to you?
Well, it was, we had lost to the Mets in '69, and we were in one of those streaks, 109, 108, 101 wins, 3 straight World Series, 69 through 71. And when we got to spring training after we lost to the Mets, after winning 109 games, Earl Weaver was like a jockey down the stretch of Pimlico. I mean, even the spring training games meant something. So again, I think it was a team on a mission. We had a very good club. As it turned out, Brooks, of course, Brooks had already been the MVP in 1964, but people saw Brooks Robinson at his best. I think, he hit almost 500 in the playoffs and then 470 the World Series. The MVP that year was Boog Powell. A lot of people know Boog for his barbecue, but Boog was the MVP in 1970.
Hayes hits one out to the left field corner, digging for second, and he is in with a double.
Boy, Austin Hayes, since coming back from Bowie, spent some time on the IL with that rib issue. Off the bat at 104, 2 hits the first night back, and didn't get a hit last night, but he waits pretty good on a changeup right here and has enough bat let. You see the body get a little bit out in front, but boy, he kept his hands back, and he finds the barrel out to left field for a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 3rd.
A dynamic young player. And the other thing is, maybe not tonight, but against right-handed pitching, toughest field to play at Camden Yards is left field. So yes. The defense, him and left, and then the way Mullins is playing center, you want to be a pitcher on this ball club, you want those 2 guys out in the outfield. And even Stewart is hitting right. Yep.
We talked a little bit about that last night in the early 90s here. You had Brady Anderson in left field, and you said it for best. Johnny Oates thought left field was probably the toughest position outfield to play here. So Brady was out in left, and of course Mike Devereaux could really go get it out in center field. And as a pitcher, you felt pretty good about those 2 covering 2/3 of the outfield.
Nothing at 2 against Velasquez. Oh, 2 against Andrew Velasquez. Another start at second base tonight. Hamels misses off the inside, 1-2.
Yeah, imperative that, a little harder to do now that he gets the 2 strikes, get the ball to the right side. Ben, you talk about it all the time. Hamels is a veteran. He's going to try to throw him something that he pulls. But again, Hayes has good enough speed, and unless it's hit real sharply, still may be able to get to third base.
Yes, it's almost something we don't see a whole lot of in the game of baseball. The old approach was, that was your job, to move the runner, to get the runner, get him over and get him in, right? You heard that as you were growing up to learn how to win baseball games, and that was the old school. But you don't see it a whole lot anymore. You know, some clubs will do it. I think the better clubs are really good at doing it, but across the board, it's not done a whole lot anymore.
And the Orioles, they've kind of brought the bunt back this year. I mean, the number of bunt base hits that they have gotten, with Cedric Mullins leading the major leagues in that category. And then Velasquez, he can lay a bunt down as well. And then Hanser Alberto, who is in the on-deck circle, he can do the same. And he takes a walk from Cole Hamels, so the Orioles have put the first two on base in the bottom of the third. And it turns the lineup card over for Alberto, also excellent against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, he really is. But in this situation, Alberto has been struggling a little bit at the plate as of late. I would not be totally shocked in this situation for him to put a bunt down and move those runners to second and third with just one out. But that's a big gamble because he swings it so well against left-handed pitchers. See that batting average at 292. It's been a while since Hanser Alberto's had the average in the 200s, period. Hit 305 last year.
Hamels starts him off with a strike on a changeup. 0 for 4 in the series. Remember, Alberto was given the night off in game 1, even though he was pacing in front of Brandon Hyde the entire time. Wanted to be out there.
No surprise there.
He swings, lines this one into left field. Hayes gets the send around. He'll score. Throw goes into second. Alberto with an RBI double, and they're at second and third for the Orioles, who have got a 1-0 lead.
Well, Brandon Hyde playing for the big inning here. He lets Hanser Alberto swing away, and why not, the way he wears out left-handers, and he just laces one out to left field. Here's a look at it. Another changeup. Was so good for Hamels early in that first inning, but Hanser Alberto stays back and all over this one as he finds the barrel out to left field. Austin Hayes scores easily. Velasquez into third. Hanser Alberto an RBI double. The Orioles take the lead 1-0 with nobody out here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, you go back 8-10 years ago, Hamels could get away with a changeup in the middle of the plate when he was throwing 95. Not anymore. You know, the difference between his fastball and his changeup is not that much of a difference.
And how tough, too, Jim, is it for Hamels coming back this late, where he's trying to quickly get ramped up and prepare for the Braves' playoff run?
Well, you guys touched on it. I mean, that's exactly what he's trying to do. I was reading all the stuff about him today, and I'm thinking, okay, 83, hurt my arm, had to go to Hagerstown. The only thing I tried to do was be on the postseason roster, and as it turned out, you know, didn't pitch in the playoffs, but did get a World Series on my 38th birthday, and we won a World Championship. So I think that's what he'd like to be able to do, be healthy enough to help them in the postseason.
3-0 against Iglesias. First base is open. Mountcastle next.
Yeah, because, Cakes, you get the feeling this Braves lineup, the defense as good as it is, the bullpen one of the best in baseball. If they can get 2 or 3 starters like Hamels going, maybe get Fried back, they're supposed to get him back. Anderson's been throwing it really well. They could make a deep run in the playoffs.
And as you know, Ben, and you guys talked about it, I mean, much better at home. They almost score over 6.5 runs a game, 15-8 on the road. Couple games score over 5 runs a game on the road, but no off days in this year's postseason. So you need at least 4 to 5 starters.
And on the ground foul of third. It'll be a strange postseason this year, with the wild card games being played at the seeds of the top 4 clubs in each league. But after that, you move to the bubble. American League games will be played in San Diego and LA. Iglesias chops it to short. Swanson makes the play, but Iglesias will pick up another RBI. Velasquez down to score. The Orioles with a 2-0 lead.
That's winning baseball right there. Jose Iglesias recognized the middle infielders for the Braves were playing back in that situation. He realized if he could just hit a routine ground ball up the middle somewhere, it would plate another run. That's exactly what he does. Just a little old two-hopper to Dansby Swanson, but it drives in a run.
I've got a runner at third base, and Mountcastle coming up. Popped out to short his first time. And Mountcastle, one of the Orioles' top hitters against left-handed pitching, one of the three best. Iglesias with the highest mark, 471 against lefties, but Mountcastle can do some damage as well. Mountcastle, as we've seen, can do damage against a bunch of different kinds of pitches. One ball and two strikes against Mountcastle. Josh Tomlin, who has done some starting this year for the Braves, is warming up in the bullpen. Figured like he would be the long guy for Atlanta, just with Hamels moving back into the rotation and with the Braves needing some length, because Hamels, we said, is only supposed to go about 55, 60 pitches.
And you can see right there, even when he reaches back, he pops out at about, what, 87? Change up at 80.
Yeah,
when he was at his best, he could throw that cutter in on your fist, too. And then the change up down and away.
Mountcastle hits it out to center. Acuna under it. Makes the catch. Alberto tags. And he is able to score. So the third has been kind for the Orioles. They get 3 runs. Alberto scores off Mountcastle's sacrifice fly. It's RBI number 19 for Mountcastle.
Yeah, so a good job by Iglesias. Infield back, he hits a bouncing ball, scores a run, and the runner at third base, still less than 2 out. Mountcastle, just a routine fly ball to center field, plates another run for the Orioles. So situational baseball so far, really good situational hitting for the Orioles.
That was something that was done very well in the first game of this series. Orioles were 9 for 17 with runners in scoring position.
But it's nice, right? You don't, 2 balls in a row, you don't get a hit on either one of them, but yet you drive in runs on both of them.
Has hit sharply, but Riley is there. Makes the play. Still, the Orioles score 3 times in their half of the third inning. They lead the Braves early at Camden Yards. Fourth inning of Orioles baseball is brought to you by the redesigned 2020 RAV4. Ready for any adventure? Go Toyota and let's go places.
So, Cakes, tell us about 1993. The All-Star game was here, but the Old Timers game was here before that. And tell us a story about Earl and Bob Feller.
Well, Bob, Bob Feller told Earl, he said, listen, I'll pitch. He says, but I'll only pitch if I start. And then, of course, Earl didn't say it to him, but he looked at me and he said, "He didn't win any games for me. I'm not letting him start. You're starting." And I said, "Earl, come on, man. He's Bob Feller. Let him pitch when he wants to." So he let Bob start, and Bob threw a ground ball. Boog went to his right. It got by him into right field. I mean, and it was, and that was it. And Earl came right out and got him. And then I came in 3 innings or something like that. But he was Bob Feller.
Yeah.
Did represent the United States in the armed forces in World War II. He deserved to pitch whenever he did want it. But that was his personality, which probably made him such a great pitcher.
What was Feller's reaction when they took him out? How did that go?
I don't know. He's probably tired. He was happy. But it was just, he came. We were playing the Nationals, and we were over in Washington, and it's Memorial Day, and he had been at a parade, so he comes up in the booth, and Koji's starting, and Koji was really good out of the bullpen as a starter. He didn't, he'd get exhausted second time through the lineup, and he's behind the mound on his knees. And Bob looked at me, and we're on the air. He says, "Jim, what's wrong with that young man? He's looks like he's going to throw up behind the mound." And I said, he's not in good shape. He's going to be a bullpen guy. So Bob Feller was Bob Feller. but God bless him. You know, we always said he died, I think, maybe when he was 90 or 91. We always said he's too ornery to ever pass away. But boy, what a great pitcher he was.
Arno takes a strike. It's 2-1.
So give us a weather update from the West Coast. How's the Fires going out there?
Well, they're going. It's still a little hazy. You know, I talked to Santa Barbara today. They don't have ashes. We had ashes about a week ago, so that's subsided. You know, in California, sometimes the air quality is not that good anyway, but it reminds me when I lived here when I was in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades before catalytic converters, where the air quality wasn't very good. But these fires are out of control, and boy, it's a shame because it affects so many people's lives along with COVID-19. It's been you usually have them this type of year, you know, because it gets so dry, and then, you know, the word is they haven't done a great job of actually managing the forest. So when you do get fires,
right,
they just take over.
You can't stop them. I guess the wind blows really hard, and with the brush being what it is, you just can't stop them.
Yeah, well, you know, where I live, usually you get the wind off the Pacific, but if it turns, those are the Santa Ana winds, they can blow up to 50, 60, 70 miles per hour.
3-2 against d'Arnaud. Aiken has set down 8 straight.
Whoa.
Make it 9 off that great play from Iglesias.
Well, Jose Iglesias has been really good as of late.
O's fans, get your Old Bay and mallets ready because it's time for the Crab Shuffle. Keep your eye on the ball and try and outsmart these crafty crustaceans. You and I will try that, Ben. Will you be able to guess which one it will be? Stay tuned and play along to the full version during the next commercial break.
A little more difficult than picking mustard, ketchup, or relish.
What did you pick last night, Ben?
I went mustard last night.
You went with mustard.
I think
you went with mustard. You said you didn't like it, but you took it.
Yeah, I took it anyway, and I think relish won.
Yeah, I won. I had relish, and we assigned rock ketchup. One and one against Dansby Swanson. One of 7 strikeout victims for Aiken so far, and he's ahead 1-2.
Ben, don't they use mustard in some of the, you know, the southern Louisiana cuisines? Or is that,
yes, mustard's very popular. Potato salad. We actually put a little mustard on our fish before we fry it. Of course, we fry everything at home. Everything's fried. But yeah, mustard pretty popular. I just don't like it just the way it is. If you mix it with something, it's not bad.
One and two against Dansby Swanson. Keegan Aiken has looked much better than he did in his last outing against the Yankees, and he picks up his 8th strikeout. He's also gotten a little bit of help from his defense too. Jose Iglesias getting up and making a big play. Orioles with a 3-0 lead. This season, we are recognizing some of the Orioles' biggest fans. Today, we honor Orange Level members Melanie and George Owen from Gambrels. Melanie and George have been Birdland members since 1991. Their favorite Birdland memories include standing on the field with Matt Wieters on Mother's Day for the national anthem and enjoying Cal Ripken's 21-31 game. Learn more and become a Birdland member by visiting Orioles.com/membership. Renato Nunez takes a strike from Cole Hamels. It's 0-1. Hamels has thrown 46 pitches. Now Josh Tomlin was warming up for the Braves in the last inning. Orioles plating 3. Gonna go with that. Keegan Aiken has struck out 8 through his first 4 innings, allowed only 1 hit, and the 8 strikeouts tying a career best.
Yeah, Aiken punched out 8 against the Yankees in his second start and 5 in the third. Walked 4 that night.
2 against Renato Nunez. And Jim, how important is it for, after Aiken has a tough start against the Yankees, that he comes back out and puts a performance together like he has so far against the Braves?
Well, he just got back to doing what he did. And if you go back and, Ben was doing the game, I was watching. I mean, just an aberrational first inning. You go to Yankee Stadium for your first time, even though you don't have fans. Second time you faced a ball club in, about a week? And then they don't play well behind you defensively, didn't have command of his pitches. Tonight, of course, totally different story. You got to turn the chapter. That's what pitching in the big leagues is all about.
Yeah, I think he'll have to continue to make those adjustments. And Jim, you watched the game, and almost like the Yankees had a pretty good feel for him, as you mentioned. It's really tough when you pitch against the same team in back-to-back starts. I feel like they really get a good look at what you do and what you like to do. And because he couldn't land the breaking ball or the changeup, a lot of foul balls, the pitch count got up. You mentioned the defensive plays that weren't made, but it's good to see him bounce back. He felt like if he got through the first inning tonight, he would really roll, and he has so far.
Yeah, he just couldn't put them away up in New York. And it did look like they did make some nice adjustments. I think in a perfect world, when you have a more experienced pitcher, you just make your pitches, and eventually if you make enough good ones, you get guys out. But when you're young, and again, they don't play well defensively, you can get out of the game in a hurry.
Nunez hits this one deep, and it's caught. What a play by Marcell Ozuna up against the wall. He takes a home run away from Nunez.
How about that play? Renato Nunez a little bit out in front. Looked like another off-speed pitch to change up again, but barrels it enough to get it. Yeah, it's definitely the changeup. There it is. It's kind of sitting up in the zone, and Renato just throws the head of the bat at it. And how about the play? Right up over the wall. Marcell Ozuna.
It would have been home run number 12 for Renato Nunez, but Ozuna says not so fast. Cole Hamels doesn't quite understand, I think, the COVID procedures for pitching changes. He exits the game. New pitcher for the Braves, 3-0 O's.
Well, the night is complete for the veteran, 36-year-old Cole Hamels. Hamels 3 1/3, 3 hits, 3 runs. They all were earned. Walk 1, punched out 2. Only threw 52 pitches. 34 were strikes. This is your Jiffy Lube pitching change. Quick pitching change, just like a Jiffy Lube multi-care oil change. Plus, get brakes, batteries, and more services in a Jiffy. And there is Josh Tomlin. We mentioned it, he's been in 13 games, 5 starts along the way, so he can give you some length. That's what they need out of him tonight. 2-2 record, 4.6 ERA. Same amount of hits per innings pitched, 28 punch-outs and 7 walks. That's a good number. 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. Opponent's hitting .264 off the right-hander Josh Tomlin.
Was mostly a relief pitcher for the Braves a year ago, but because of some issues trying to find starting pitchers, he's gotten to do some of that. He's brought on with Hamels' first outing of the year, so Hamels has got a pitch count around 55 or 60. He exits when he gets to run around that number. Stewart lays off, 1 ball and 1 strike. One and 1 against DJ Stewart. Tomlin misses inside with a cutter. 2 balls and a strike.
Cakes,
yeah, he's got all the pitches. Yeah, I mean, the big slow curveball. His last pitch gave up 5 runs against the Nationals. What, about 6 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
High pop up. Riley coming in, and he makes the catch. Now, Tomlin actually, when he was with the Indians, helped Sean Armstrong develop his cut fastball, which of course has become a key pitch for Armstrong this year. Pat Valenka stepping up to the plate.
How is Sean doing, by the way?
We got an update today. He threw off the mound in Bowie, but Still sounds like it's questionable whether or not we'll see him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, the way they made it sound, Cakes, is that they don't know if he'll be able to ramp up enough with little days left in the season to get back to the big league level. It's going to be awfully close. They really didn't say either way, but they say he's got some time to ramp up.
Yeah, he was having a real nice year. Certainly compliments to the bullpen.
Again, he goes to the cutter. No balls and 2 strikes.
Now, you guys talking about how young the Orioles are. If this was a veteran team, they would have probably, I mean, they would know Tomlin because he would have already started because he was a starting pitcher for the Indians.
Right.
And did a nice job for him on occasion.
What do you think about this Oriole bullpen, Cakes? I mean, look, lost some guys, obviously, but I tell you what, they're still pitching it well. Some guys have stepped up on the back end.
Well, the land of opportunity, and they've certainly seized it. I mean, you look at the Oriole bullpen now, and you think about a lot of the other bullpens where most of your guys throw 95 and above. A lot of them would get both righties and lefties out.
Valenka goes down on strikes. Jim, thanks so much for spending some time with us, and we look forward to talking to you a little bit more on Friday.
Okay.
Take care of yourself, Cakes.
3-0 Orioles after 4. Helping to make banking easier. And by Papa John's, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. We've reached the 5th inning at Camden Yards. Keegan Aiken misses outside to Adam Duvall for ball 1. Aiken has allowed only 1 hit, and only 2 base runners have gotten aboard against Aiken, both of those coming in the first. He's set down 10 in a row.
Boy, it's been impressive. The ability to use both of his off-speed pitches. We've seen a couple of change-ups behind in the count, so 2-1 count. He's able to land a change-up, 1-0 count one time, able to land the change-up.
Also seen him mix in the curveball some as well. New pitch to his arsenal this year.
And he's going to need it. I mean, you got to have at least 3 pitches. If you're a starting pitcher, you got to have at least 3.
And you pointed out it's probably almost better to have 4 just in case one of those breaking balls may not be functioning on one night.
Yeah, every night's a little bit different, you know, and if you have 4 or 5 pitches, you hope to get 3 of them going in a ball game, and the other 2 maybe you keep working them in situations where it won't hurt you, and all of a sudden you find them the 2nd or 3rd time through the lineup.
It's kind of what we saw with Dean Kramer in his last outing. He couldn't find the feel for the curveball initially, but eventually it came to him around the 3rd inning against the Yankees.
Yeah, but he was able to get some big outs early with the cut fastball until the curveball came, which is typically his better pitch. Once he got the cutter and the curveball going, he really sailed from there.
Orioles will see Dean Kramer on the mound tomorrow. He will be pitching one of the games of the doubleheader against the Tampa Bay Rays. Get underway at 4:35. Not sure if he's going to pitch game 1 or game 2. Brandon Hyde didn't want to commit to a start release before the game, so we'll probably find out afterwards what the move will be for tomorrow. And there is strikeout number 9 for Keegan Aiken. That's a new career best.
And he's gotten Adam Duvall twice, just like he's got Dansby Swanson twice, and this is that changeup. Boy, starts it right on the outside edge, and a good late action running down and away from the hot-hitting Adam Duvall, who has 10 home runs just in the month of September, but not this time.
Aiken's made pretty quick work of him. 2 strikeouts tonight. Guy that came in tied for most home runs in the National League. It hasn't really mattered who you are in this Braves lineup tonight. Keegan Aiken has been dominant.
He's got Acuna twice. He's got Swanson twice. Duvall twice. There it is, career high 9 strikeouts. Surpasses
the 8 that he had in the game against the Yankees. Who started Camden Yards. Alberto charges in. And this throw pulls Valleca down the line. Riley is on base.
Yeah, Answer Alberto playing back where he should be against Austin Riley. Does everything. I don't even think with a good throw he's going to get him in that situation. Backhand right here, quickly transfers it, throws it across the diamond, but you can see I think Riley's going to be there anyway.
Riley is aboard with 1 out. Tyler Flowers struck out on 3 pitches his first time, as they've called that an infield single for Austin Riley. Pitches inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Aiken, a homegrown talent for the Orioles. First one to make his major league debut this year. We kind of talked about it earlier, Ben, just about the excitement that is to follow. You've had Ryan Mountcastle come up, make his big league debut. He's put good numbers together. And then you can't also forget about all the quality work that has been done at the alternate site, which has proven to be a great ground for getting those who have gotten to Camden Yards this year as prepared as possible.
Well, they have been ready, and it's shown. They've gotten here and putting this big league uniform on. They have not disappointed. You know, and you saw it coming with Keegan Aiken, and he's kind of, when you talk to Mike Elias, you hear about they want him to have success at every level. You go back 2018, and Keegan Aiken was the Eastern League Pitcher of the Year. Then he goes 2019 to the International League in AAA, leads the league in strikeouts, so had success in both situations. He deserved to be called to the big leagues, and he has.
Stewart runs it down in the corner and foul ground. There's a little bit of room out there in the right field corner, and DJ Stewart gets an out for Aiken.
Yeah, he goes into the dark to make this play. I mean, right as far as you can go. He was shaded a little bit that way, was DJ Stewart. Easily runs this ball down.
That has got to be a tough play to make, because it seems like the ball leaves your sight for a moment. Keegan Aiken, a pitcher that, one thing that they told him they wanted him to improve on when he was at AAA, start working in his secondary pitches in 2-1 counts, 3-1 counts, and they told him, you're going to struggle. You're going to have some problems with this, but it's going to better prepare you for the major leagues.
Well, you can't learn to throw your pitches unless you throw them enough, right? I mean, you got to work on those pitches. And, we questioned the walk totals that he had in 2019. He walked 61 batters and only 112 innings pitched. But when you talk to Oriole people, they'll tell you, we made him throw his changeup in 1-0 counts. We made him use his breaking ball in 2-0 counts, because that's how you learn how to throw them, is in a ball game. Throw them in the bullpen's one thing, but you really get a feel for them in a ball game.
Albies sneaks this one through. 2-out base runner. There are a couple on base, and the lineup card turned over for Acuna. The Orioles are supporting local organizations making a difference in our community with virtual community booth. This week we're highlighting Girls Inc. of Washington County, a nonprofit organization helping to empower girls to succeed through hands-on research-based programs that provide girls with academic enrichment, healthy living tips, and important life skills to better their futures. Learn more about the Orioles virtual community booth and Girls Inc. by visiting Orioles.com/community. Acuna, 2 strikeouts tonight. Swings and fouls this one away. 0-2.
The Orioles have pitched Acuna really well in this series. He was 0 for 3, both in games 1 and game 2, so 0 for 8 on the series.
And he's hitless overall in his last 16 at bats.
He's kind of the igniter, really, of this offense. I mean, he can get on, he can put pressure on defenses. When he gets on, he can steal a base every now and then. Of course, you know about the offensive numbers.
That one is fouled off the mid of Severino.
Acuna just 22 years old.
Dylan Tate starting to warm up in the Orioles bullpen.
Keegan Aiken at 90 pitches now, so you got to think this is probably going to be his last inning, trying to get him through the 5th.
That one evidently high or outside. K-zone had as is a strike. Acuna's still alive. Riley at second. Albies at first. So 92 pitches now for Aiken. That is a new season high. He had 91 in his first start against the Yankees. 5 1/3 scoreless innings that day. See if he can complete 5 tonight. Albies skies this one, or Acuna skies this one into right center. Hayes makes the play, and for Keegan Aiken, 5 scoreless innings. Take a look at your Geico do-ups. Austin Hayes, Andrew Velazquez, Hanser Alberto. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Aiken, career high 9 strikeouts. That's the most by an Orioles rookie since Dylan Bundy in 2012. 5 of his first 6 strikeouts tonight were with that fastball, but it's interesting, we've been talking about this, that he had to get away from that fastball in order to get to the major leagues. I talked with Kenny Steenstra, his pitching coach at Bowie. He said, you know, Keegan could go 80% fastballs and plow through an Eastern League lineup, but that wasn't going to work as you moved up. So there was a tough sell for him at AAA, being told, you got to go more with your secondary stuff. You've got to really develop that changeup, go off speed, in fastball counts. Don't worry about the results. Now, that's tough because results are usually what get you here. And yet Keegan had to go along with the idea that his walk total may go up, and he's going to have to work differently than he normally did, but it would make him a more well-rounded pitcher and prepare him for the majors. And he'll tell you right now he's here because he did buy into that. And Ben, if you're in Keegan's shoes and you've got a manager, pitching coach, pitching coordinator, whomever telling you, don't worry about your stats, you've got to learn to do some other things, some things differently to get to the majors. What are you thinking? How do you react to that?
Well, as a young guy, that's very difficult, right? Because you want your ERA to be good, and you want to stack up the wins. But the minor league system has changed a little bit over the years, right? It's more about development now than it is the actual results. And so I can relate to that. I had a college coach by the name of Skip Bertman who made me throw my other off-speed pitches, you know, when I necessarily didn't have to. Like Keegan, I threw hard enough in college where I could almost get by with just a fastball, but he made me throw, and he'd always tell me, where you're going to end up one day, you're going to need all these pitches, so we might as well start working on them and throwing them now. I didn't understand it so much at the time, but when I arrived in the big leagues at 21, I began to recognize it. And yes, I need a forkball, a changeup. I've got to be able to cut it occasionally. I got to be able to use both sides of the plate. So it's all about development at the end of the day.
In a right field, Duvall makes the catch. Out number 1. Orioles baseball in Masson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Big heart and low fares. Book now at southwest.com. Velazquez coming up to the plate. Yeah, and last year with the Orioles, Chris Holt is there. He works with the major league pitchers. He works with the minor league pitchers. You saw a good amount of success in the minor league system, even though some of the things that they were preaching, some of the new technology and some of the different methods of thinking were newer to the Orioles farm system.
Yes. I mean, one thing you saw go up right away was the strikeouts, right? The overall strikeouts really took a jump with all the analytics coming into it. And, you know, before this group was in, Mike Elias' group, there wasn't a whole lot of analytics to it, you know, and now the players had a lot more information.
Riley leans over the railing and makes the play. Second out of the inning. Hey, O's fans, bring a piece of Birdland home with our Piece of the Game sweepstakes. Enter by 11 p.m. on Sunday, September 27th for your chance to win a game-used baseball from a 2020 Orioles home game. No purchase necessary. Learn more and enter now at Orioles.com/piece of the game. Alberto has doubled and scored. Also has grounded out to Jose Flores. Good hands there by Flores. Orioles infield coach Alberto will need to get another bat.
Yeah, Tomlin got that fastball right in on the hands of Hanser Alberto. Tomlin going to throw mostly a cut fastball. He's got them all. He'll throw a fastball, but not a high usage on his fastball. He loves to cut fastball. Curveball, changeup as well.
And you have to figure that coming out of the bullpen, he can rely on his favorite pitcher too a little bit more. .51% cutters from Josh Tomlin. And he ran that one back in over the inside corner. Strikes out Alberto. Tomlin has set down all 5 he's faced, but the Orioles with a 3-0 lead.
Over for Keegan Aiken, but what a night it was. He started off with a bang, a punch out of Acuna right on the inside part with a fastball. He gets Dansby Swanson swing with another fastball, but then he got the all-speed pitches going. Austin Riley down with a curveball. Flowers by you with a fastball. Acuna this time with the breaking ball, and there's that good breaking ball spin, and Dansby Swanson no chance of hitting that one. To change up away to Austin Riley. A little love from the skipper Brandon Hyde, and Keegan Aiken 5 innings pitched. He was dominant. Only 3 hits, no runs. How about that? 1 walk and a career high 9 punch outs. Look at that, 63 strikes and only 93 pitches to do it in, so a high percentage of strikes, and he'll give way to the right-hander Dylan Tate. 9 games he's worked in, 1-1 with a 3.2 ERA, 14 innings, 12 punch-outs, and 5 walks. Opponents hitting just 114 off the right-hander Dylan Tate.
He's coming off of a stretch where he didn't allow a hit in 5 consecutive appearances. Start off by facing Freddie Freeman. And delivers a strike. Freeman walked to extend his on-base streak to 32 games. Tate, he's got that changeup, a pitch that Brandon Hyde has said he really likes, and it can play up well against somebody like Freeman.
Well, when you throw 94 to 96 and you can turn it over and run it down and away, it is a good pitch. There's the hard slider. Starts it around the inner 30, catches the inside corner, so ahead of Freddie Freeman, 1 ball to 2 strikes.
Glasgow's way out there in right field. But as we have noted, a 1-2 count against Freddie Freeman. Not the easiest hitter to get out. There's just not a whole lot of spots where you can really attack him. And sometimes it means, as Jim Palmer said, an opposite field single. And that is what Freeman has got to lead off the 6th inning. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by USAA, proudly serving the military community. What you're made of, we're made for.
We talked about how hot a hitting team this Braves team coming out of the National League was, and the National League leaderboard for September in OPS, on base plus slugging. 4 of the top 6 spots in the month of September are owned by Atlanta Braves. That's how hot they were coming in.
Severino can't handle that one, and Freeman jogs up to second base.
Dylan Tate's fastball's got a lot of movement to it, a lot of sinking action to it, and that's exactly what that pitch was. Severino just could not keep it in front.
Orioles have got a 3-0 lead. They very well could have a 4-0 lead if Ozuna does not take a home run away from Renato Nunez. Back in the 4th inning.
There's that action on that fastball. That thing almost like a wiffle ball. Are you kidding me? At 94 miles an hour.
I mean, we have seen some movement on the fastball this year from Dylan Tate, but have we seen that?
No, not that pitch. But if he can throw it another couple of times just like that, Ozuna's not going to be in there very long.
I mean, that kind of has Zach Britton sinker kind of movement to it.
Britton's got a lot of like vertical drop to his. I mean, that one's kind of got the vertical drop and the horizontal movement to go with it.
Ozuna hits this one to third. Alberto looks Freeman back and makes the play. A one-out runner at second base. They called it a pass ball against Severino, which allowed for Freeman to move up. Now Travis d'Arnaud stepping to the plate. Opposite field single in the first. Great play by Iglesias, though, in the fourth inning to rob him of a hit.
Well, we're finally getting to see what we thought we were going to get from Jose Iglesias, right? He battled the quad issue, and when he was on the field early playing shortstop, he just wasn't 100%. He just wasn't moving like he typically moves. But now with the leg healed up, you're starting to see that shortstop that you thought you were getting, a guy that's been one of the better shortstops in all of baseball, really, the last 6 or 7 years.
I've seen him play shortstop a couple days in a row, which has been encouraging to see.
Yeah, and he's running the bases well, beat out an infield single. You can tell he is moving much better. One thing's been constant for him, the bat has always worked no matter what the leg issue was.
He's a shortstop, and he's taught a lot to some of the younger players as well. He's got Andrew Velazquez with him in the shift, and Velazquez, one of a number who has benefited from Iglesias' tutelage. Richie Martin did as well. One ball and one strike.
He's your veteran guy right now, right? I mean, he's the leader in the clubhouse and captain of the infield at shortstop. And you're right, a lot of these younger players have gravitated toward him for a lot of different reasons.
Brandon Hyde, Mike Elias, they got together with Jose Iglesias and said, hey, you know, you're kind of at the end of your career, you know, towards the very end, and you know, now it's time to be helping out some of the younger players. And in a year where you don't have Trey Mancini and you're looking for some leadership, Iglesias has helped to provide that. Two and two against d'Arnaud. Now Freeman is down at second base. Braves offense that was held quiet in game one got 5 runs in game 2. Couldn't get anything done against Aiken. Now Tate trying to dispose of d'Arnaud. On the ground. Iglesias has got it. He'll make the play. But Freeman was moving on contact. He gets down to third.
And that's the thing the Orioles pitching has done really well in this series. The Braves runners in scoring position game 1, as you mentioned, 0 for 6. Last night, although they scored 5 runs, they were still only 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. So the Oriole pitchers have stepped up when it's mattered the most in this series.
And they know this is a Braves team. They not only score a lot of runs, when they have an opportunity to get runs, they usually capitalize. The very top of the National League with men in scoring position this year. I said entering today, 110 runs scored in 15 September games. And a balk is called against Dylan Tate. And this will bring Freeman in.
Let's see what happened here. Brandon Hyde was up carping a little bit. I'm not sure exactly. It almost looked like he kind of started and stopped at the, you know, real quickly.
Brendan Miller was the only one who saw it.
It looked like Bill Welke might have been pointing too from first base. He may have saw it too, but you could clearly hear Brendan Miller. He was vocal about it. Boy, that's a tough one there for the Orioles. Just 2 outs, runner at third base.
One and 2 against Dansby Swanson. It's tough that a run scores that way, especially when you're facing Swanson, a hitter who has not been producing very well recently. Changeup misses inside, 2 and 2.
And remember, he got to second base by a pass ball. Moved over to third on a ground ball.
It's one of those runs that you're going to have to circle. A couple of them could be circled in the last outing that Tate had against the Yankees, where comes over, takes a flip, doesn't quite step on the bag, and that allowed for a couple Yankees runs to come home, which decided a game. We're hopeful that that will not be happening tonight as the Orioles try and take the rubber game against the Braves and close out their schedule strong against NL East teams. 10-9 the Orioles are against the NL East, so they will also be seeing next year. Velazquez is there, and he makes the play as the Braves get a run in their half of the sixth. Here are your M&T do-ups: Iglesias, Mountcastle, Severino. Brought to you by M&T Bank. Understanding what's important. Well, tonight the Orioles, for the first time, welcoming back longtime Baltimore Sun sports writer Peter Schmuck. There's a spot for him in the press box. It's encapsulated there in that picture. Peter Schmuck, great to see him back tonight. He decided to retire, and before the game, everyone was reminiscing a little bit about some of their favorite memories with Peter Schmuck. A lot of great years covering the Orioles. Maryland Sports Writer of the Year 6 different times. And I'll say this, getting to spend some time with him in spring training before coronavirus happened and everything was so much fun. He has got just story after story after story. Iglesias lines it into left field. He'll hold on at first base. Second hit of the game for Jose Iglesias. And one of the ones that he told was probably the most entertaining one that I had heard was back when Albert Bell was playing for the Orioles. And Albert and him played chess, and Peter Schmuck won a couple of games of chess. And Albert Bell was so frustrated that they had this online chess game that they could play. And Albert played like a couple of thousand games in order so that 2 weeks later he could come back, play Peter Schmuck again, and beat him.
I spent some time with Albert Bell in college. Of course, he went to LSU, was a couple years in front of me, but yeah, that's what kind of guy he was. If you beat him at marbles, jacks, whatever, he was going to practice enough, and he wanted to, and then he'd come back. Then I remember I beat him at ping pong one time, just wore him out. We had a ping pong table at old Alex Box Stadium, and he never would play me again. But I found out later on he was practicing late at night. He would just get his twin brother Terry to, they'd play ping pong all night long. And about 2 weeks later, he challenged me, said, "Hey, you want to play a game of ping pong?" I was like, "Yeah," and he beat me the next time. I didn't know he was practicing every day. But that's him. Boy, he could hit a baseball.
Incredible competitor. If he doesn't have that injury, he probably goes to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he was, what, hitting 35, 40 a year at the time when he broke down. Just about 3 more good years for him, 3 or 4 for sure, and he'd have had the 500 mark easily. But going back to Peter Schmuck, I remember Peter when I first got called up to the Orioles way back in, I guess it was '89. I was 21. It seemed like Peter had been here maybe a year or 2 before me, as Hunter Harvey started to get heated up in that Oriole bullpen. Pete was always good. He always asked tough questions, though. You know, he was one of those guys that was always kind of in your face, asking the tough questions after the ball game. But he did his job, and he was fair. You know, that was a cool thing. Talking to the media, as long as they're fair, you don't mind talking to them.
Hey, Rock, what do you have on Peter Schmuck?
Yeah, well, when I joined the beat, I was covering local colleges, and all of a sudden Buster Olney and Jason Lanconfor both put in their 2 weeks notice to leave the beat at the same time in spring training. So they rushed me down there, and I was waiting to meet up with Joe Strauss, who would be the lead writer, and I was a backup. But Buster Olney decided to train me real quick before he left. He was like, "Rock, man, you got to get to the ballpark early every day, be the first one there, be the last one to leave, follow around the guy from the Washington Post, sweep out the clubhouse," is what they called it, be the last one to leave. I know Buster's the guy that's probably making phone calls at 5 a.m. and it totally worked for him. He leaves, Peter Schmuck comes up to me and goes, "Rock, it's just baseball. Have fun with it." And I thought, maybe there's an in between those two. I don't know, but I love the have fun with it. It's just baseball. And I think he's made it work, and I'd like to think I've made it work.
Rock, you have certainly made it work, my friend.
Thank you.
It's been fun having you here with us these last couple of days, and it's great that the Orioles put this together with Peter Schmuck. It's been a really strange year, so to see them honor somebody that has done such a great job covering the Orioles and sports across the state of Maryland, it was great that they were able to do this and have everybody together to share some of their memories. And Peter Schmuck, a beloved member of the media in this area, and overall just a fantastic guy. A 1-out, man at first base, and now here's Severino, who's gone 0 for 2 in the game. It's that one foul. The Orioles, they scored 3 times in their half of the third. Braves got a run on the board in the 6th, and is one of those runs that you probably came out of the inning and you're pretty frustrated about it, because Freeman singled, he got to second base on a pass ball, and then he came around to score on a balk. So the run that the Braves got in the top half of the inning was actually unearned.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And just a little bit of a flinch from Dylan Tate was enough to balk the run home.
Hit on the ground and through the right side. They had Albies tilted more towards the middle. Iglesias advances, and Severino, his first hit of the night.
Well, when Pedro Severino was really swinging it well early in the year, he was using the opposite field, wearing it out that way. He didn't hit this ball hard. See this cut fastball kind of going down and away from him. He gets it off the end of the bat, but nobody home at second base, and a little 3 or 4 hopper gets through the hole. Iglesias advances to second, so first and second, and just one out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Okay, any awards on exit velocity on that one, but sometimes it just comes down to location, location, location.
That's
Kind of
right.
like real estate. Nunez, he got robbed of a home run his last time up. Ozuna went up against the wall, took one away. So instead of the Orioles having a 3-run lead, it is a 2-run lead. And Nunez maybe a chance for a do-over here. Fouls that one into the mitt of Flowers. 0-2. Uh, 0-2 against Renato Nunez. Tomlin still in the game. He entered in the 4th inning for Cole Hamels. That one misses high, and Renato Nunez, this would have been a home run number 12.
Yeah, in the 4th inning, hits it 371 feet. But how about Marcell Ozuna go up over the wall and robs Renato Nunez of what would have been, again, his 12th home run.
It would have been a home run in 8 out of 30 ballparks. He's now 1-2 against Tomlin. Has been cutter curveball heavy, as you would expect. That's what he typically does. Nunez fights this one off down the right field line. One and 2 against Nunez. Orioles have gone 1 for 2 with men in scoring position tonight. And Tomlin with an inside move to look back Iglesias.
The Orioles in game 1, when they scored 14 runs, were 9 for 17 runners in scoring position. 0 for 5 last night. Not many chances.
Nunez hits this one fair down the left field line. Iglesias will score easily. Severino, he gets sent around. Throw to the plate. Dropped. Nunez advances to third, and the Orioles get a couple more runs. Renato Nunez with an extra base hit.
Well, they might have robbed him back in the fourth inning, but not this time. This ball's hit equally as hard by Renato Nunez. The boy gets an off-speed pitch and just melts it right over the head of Austin Riley. He gets all the way down in the corner. You knew Iglesias was going to score. The question was, could Pedro Severino go from first all the way to third? Jose Flores cranks him around. Here's the play at the plate, and he is in there. Renato Nunez comes around second base. He reads the throw and advances to third, so gets a double out of that, 2 RBIs. And still just 1 out. The Braves will be forced to bring the infield in as the Orioles lead now 5-1.
So suddenly that run in the top half of the inning by the Braves doesn't feel like such a big deal. Double and 2 RBIs for Nunez. 27 driven in for him on the year. The Orioles have reached the 5-run mark. Nothing in 2.
Yeah, that mark's been hard to get to for the Orioles as of late. They've only done it 1 time in their last 6 games going into this one. Now they've done it 29 times out of 49 games this year. The Orioles have 5 runs or more in a game.
In the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and it's been the ultimate predictor of success for the Orioles. They need to get past the 3-run mark, because this year 3 runs or less, 0-17. 4 or more, much better.
But it's just learning how to win. I mean, and again, a young team has to learn, and I think the evidence is all the 1-run games and what their record is in those 1-run games. The Orioles have played 17 1-run games this year, but they're only 6-11 in those games, and that just really screams a young team, a team that at times has trouble hitting with runners in scoring position, a team at times that makes mistakes defensively.
And Brandon Hyde says it's not good enough for me and for the team to just say, well, if you're in so many 1-run games, that's a sign you're going in the right direction. Late call of strike 3, and that one looked to be inside.
DJ Stewart certainly didn't agree with it. Tomlin throws this one, and it's a 2-seam fastball, and see it comes back. I'm not sure it came all the way back. He starts it in on purpose, and that view says it did not come all the way back. But Brennan Miller, the home plate umpire, says yes, it did. That's a big punch out with a runner at third base and only 1 out at the time.
Strike zone has been a little bit interesting tonight from Brennan Miller. Nunez still down at third base. Orioles have scored 2 in this inning. But to go back to it, Brandon Hyde says, you know, it's nice if you're playing in close games, but it's not enough. I mean, you want to find a way when you're playing 1-run games. You got to find a way to win.
That's one thing about Brandon Hyde. He's never accepted losing, you know, and he said in spring training, he said, I don't know how many games we're going to win, but I tell you what we are going to do. We're going to go out and we're going to compete every night. That is the goal, to go out and compete every night. And the Orioles have done it. And even losing a lot of games last year, I felt like they competed well pretty much the entire season last year as well.
Like takes a strike. It's 1-1.
But I can tell you this, they got 21 wins right now. I think most people in baseball, the so-called experts, didn't think the Orioles would even get to 21 wins this year.
Popped up in a shallow right. Albies makes the catch. But Nunez with a 2-run double. Orioles lead 5-1. Keegan Aiken with 5 scoreless innings. Orioles get 2 more in their half of the 6th. Lead the Braves by a 5-1 score. And Hunter Harvey coming out of the bullpen for the Orioles. He will replace Dylan Tate.
Yeah, Tate gave up 1 unearned run on 1 hit, and there's Hunter Harvey. On the year, he's been in 6 games, 3.3 ERA, 5 innings pitched. He's punched out 3 and walked 2. Opponent's hitting .250 off the hard-throwing right-hander Hunter Harvey.
Is it not awesome that he comes into the Real American? That's the song that he plays when he enters.
That's him. 97, 98, sometimes a little bit higher. He's facing a guy in Adam Duvall who's having an outstanding September. 10 home runs. He hit his 10th home run of the month of September last night.
Tied for most number of home runs by a member of the Braves in the month of September. Matching that which was previously set by Chipper Jones.
That's right, back in 1999.
Harvey jumps ahead of Duvall 0-2. And this is outside with a fastball. Braves have got Jacob Webb throwing. We heard from Webb in game 1 of this series. Final game of 3 against the Braves. And the final games the Orioles will play against the NL East in the regular season. Needs 1 and 2 against Duvall. Got a couple of series wins in there against NL East teams. Orioles taking down the Nationals in 4 out of 6 games, and then they swept the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. Duvall behind and a fastball from Harvey. Fastball has looked good. The slider has looked good. Maybe still trying to find the feel for the splitter a little bit.
Well, the pitch before that was a splitter, and it just kind of sat there and didn't really have that typical action you see from a Hunter Harvey splitter. Last year in the month of September, that splitter was a good one. We saw a high velocity fastball, but he could finish with the splitter and the breaking ball. I think that's kind of what he's searching for now, is the off-speed pitches. He can do that. He can rush it up there, but he's going to need those off-speed pitches to really be effective. If you watched him his last 2 or 3 times out, it's been mostly fastball. He's doing the work with the fastball for the most part. So this would be a great time to throw the splitter if it had that good action to it. You just do a fastball up in the zone a little bit. You change the eye level. If you could back it up with something off speed here, it'd probably be really good.
He tried to do that with a splitter but missed in.
And that's the one he just wants to get right in the center of the plate and have it have that typical action right there as it dives down and into the right-hander. But you got to start it in the middle. Ball just started too far inside. So now you're back into a predictable count where you got to throw a fastball, and you're talking about a guy in Duvall who is a really good fastball hitter.
3-2. It's a fastball, and it's in the left field.
And that's just big leaguers there. I mean, when they know what pitch is coming, it doesn't matter how hard you throw it. If they can guess fastball and you leave one in the center, they're going to find the barrel, and Duvall does. It's a good 4-seam fastball. It's down, but it's center cut where it really should be. I mean, you got to throw a strike in this situation. You're up 5-1. You get to the latter part of the game, and a nice job by Duvall. He just kind of goes down and puts a barrel on a really good fastball, almost 104 off the bat.
Duvall's got his first hit. Austin Riley had a single back in the 5th inning. Riley, hitter that he can make you pay if you mislocate your fastball. He can also make you pay if you mislocate your breaking ball. He's got 6 out of his 7 home runs this year off of breaking balls.
Well, you remember what he did when he came up last year. He carried the Braves early in the year last year. Came up, got to call up a young guy. He went off last year, hit a lot of home runs early, faded a little bit down the stretch, but he could swing it.
Alberto with a nice snag. They cannot get Duvall at first base.
So 2 balls hit hard so far off of Hunter Harvey. Adam Duvall with a single. Austin Riley barrels one up, but that's where Hanser Alberto hangs out right there at third base across the diamond, but not in time.
Fourth game that Alberto playing at third base this year. Did more of it last year. As Harvey misses outside for ball one. Mostly second base this year for Hanser Alberto, and of course you're going to find some place in the lineup for him when the opposing team is starting a left-handed pitcher, which the Braves were tonight with Cole Hamels making the start. One and one against Tyler Flowers. Hit on the ground at third. Alberto backs up to second one. Off to first. Double play. Harvey sees the minimum in the seventh inning. Time to stretch at Camden Yards. Alberto gets it started. Velasquez for two. It is time for your T-Mobile ticket to the game. Nationals and Rays went extra innings tonight. Nationals came up with a 4-2 victory. Brandon Lau extends his hitting streak to 7 games. He had a 2-run homer in the ninth, which forced extra innings. Rays first in the AL East with a 30-18 record. They have the number 2 playoff seed, and they are coming to Camden Yards tomorrow. Be a doubleheader against the Rays as they will play the Orioles over the course of the weekend. Final home series at Camden Yards this year, and Jacob Webb, the new pitcher for Atlanta.
Yeah, 27-year-old Jacob Webb. He is out of Riverside, California. There's the numbers on the year. Only 3 games, does not have an ERA. Opponent's hitting just .250 off of him. Yeah, Blake Snell is listed for the Rays to throw tomorrow. And again, kind of like Dean Kramer, we don't know what game he's going to throw in. He's certainly listed. That'd be a nice matchup, Dean Kramer and Blake Snell. I don't think anybody would complain about that one.
Could be fun to watch. Dean Kramer, a 6-inning outing, 1 run against the Yankees the first time, 5 innings of 1-run baseball last weekend, but still waiting to find out who is going to start game number 2. We'll see if Brandon Hyde has any update after the game. Webb delivers a strike into Hayes to start off his night. Originally an 18th round pick, Webb, by Atlanta in 2014 out of Tabor College. That is in Kansas. Hayes lays off a breaking ball, 1-1. Webb has got great stuff. Last year, Webb was kind of a surprise contributor for the Braves. Appeared some in high leverage situations. Braves bullpen, though, a little bit more stacked this season.
He's going to throw that fastball. It's a mid-90s fastball about 46% of the time. Changeup right about 41% of the time, and got a curveball to go with it. And there's Tanner Scott. He is still warming up. Looks like he will be next in line for the Orioles.
Harvey got a scoreless top half of the 7th after Dylan Tate gave up 1 unearned run in the 6th. The balk forced home the Braves' lone run. Two and 2 against Austin Hayes. Back in center field. Saw him in left field in the first 2 games of this series. Cedric Mullins is available off the bench, but was not in the starting lineup just because of Cole Hamels starting, and Hayes and Mullins having them in center and left. That is 2 guys that can run down a baseball. Hitting with a 2-2 count against Webb. There is Andrew Velasquez. Orioles getting 3 runs in their half of the 3rd. Orioles then got 2 in the last inning, courtesy of the double from Renato Nunez. Hayes fights it off foul.
Yeah, Hayes now 3 for 9 since getting off the IL.
That's in the dirt.
What do you say? You got about 25 at bats the last week, kind of getting ramped up with down in Bowie.
About 25 to 30 different at bats, and so he told Brandon Hyde that he was feeling really good. We talked about it earlier, just how players getting at bats at that alternate site were really challenged because D.L. Hall, Grayson Rodriguez, and a bunch of others are there. Guys that Hayes would have been facing every day. And he there swings and lines one into right field. So he gets a hit on a 3-2 count. It's his second of the game.
About that 4 for 10 now since being recalled.
Baseball Smiles brought to you by Dominion National, providing high-value dental and vision benefits for individuals at teethkeepers.com. Enroll today and save.
We're going to see how healthy, and he appears to be very healthy, Hayes is now, because this is a situation where Brandon Hyde has been very aggressive up late in ball games. Hayes can really run. Webb, the pitcher on the mound, takes a little bit of time to get the ball to home plate. Pretty high leg kick, so it might be a chance for Austin Hayes to steal a bag here. Well, the Orioles would love another insurance run here in the 7th inning, so Velasquez is going to try to get Hayes to at least second base if he can.
I mean, this is a spot where you might be thinking Velasquez could drop a bunt down because he's pretty good at doing that.
No doubt. There could be a lot going on here. You can see a straight steal, a drop bunt. You can almost see a hit and run type play as well. Jose Flores over at third base, giving a lot of signals right now. See what kind of lead Hayes gets over at first base. Remember, if he gets about 13 feet, that's a big lead. That's pretty average, right around 10.
0-2 against Velasquez. Down 0-2. That removes the chance that you're going to see a bunt here. But the Orioles, a team that they will bunt more than any team in baseball. It's been kind of fun to watch them bring it back almost and find ways to advance runners to set up scoring opportunities for the top of their order. Webb with a strikeout of Velasquez.
Webb just gets 3 fastballs right by Velasquez. Swung at all 3 of them, couldn't put one in play. Here you can see it. Good movement to it, so kind of starts it on the inside part of the plate. Watch the late action. Runs right back over. Boy, that is a tough pitch for a left-hander, especially in an 0-2 count when you kind of looking all speed. Just dots a fastball right on the inside part.
Alberto doubled and scored back in the 3rd. Swings through a breaking ball.
You saw Austin Hayes on the top of your screen had a little bit of a lean on that one. He was trying to anticipate it. He's trying to time it up. If he can time Webb up and get that jump that he wants, he's going to be off to second.
Held on by Freddie Freeman. Maybe an inclination that Hayes is thinking about going.
Yeah, that might have came from the dugout too to throw over, because obviously the coaches in the dugout saw that lean by Hayes. Sometimes they won't even throw over. They'll just pitch out on the next pitch and try to get him.
Alberto fouls it back, strike 2. 0-2, never a fun spot to be in, but Alberto great at finding a way to make contact. Hitter that can sometimes go outside the strike zone and still find a way to pick up a hit. Chops this one to short. Swanson for Albies, and it's a double play ball. So Hayes leads off the inning with a single, but the Orioles can't score in their half of the seventh. Has been performing well tonight.
Yes, they have. Jose Iglesias got it started as he robs a base hit. Look at him go up the ladder to the backhand side for a little out. How about this play? DJ Stewart all the way down in the corner. You can't even see him, but he comes up with it out down in the shade. Shows the umpire he's got it. And how about this double play? A little 5-4-3 action. Get Hunter Harvey and the Orioles off the field. And so Iglesias and DJ Stewart and Hanser Alberto have done their part on defense tonight. And you got a new pitcher, Hunter Harvey. One inning, he did not allow a run. There is Tanner Scott, 22 appearances on the year. He has been busy. How about that ERA? 1.47. 18 in the third innings pitched, 20 punch outs, 9 walks for the hard throwing left-hander Tanner Scott.
Scott says that the big difference for him this year, what has allowed him to turn the corner, is just the increased confidence. He has gone out, he's attacked, and it's basically told hitters, here it is, try and hit it, and most times they haven't.
That's some firewood right there. Oh my gosh.
That is over the head of Valleca. Now the Orioles, we just talked about it, how good the defense has been. And despite a ground ball back to the mound, it is thrown over the head of Valleca, and Albies ends up at second.
Well, Tanner Scott made a perfect pitch. I mean, right in on the hands. You talk about shatter a bat. Got all the time in the world, but he just kind of flips it right over the head of Pat Valleca. Not the start that Tanner Scott wanted.
So it immediately sets up a runner on base for Acuna, who has been held quiet, but everybody knows how dangerous he is. Scott delivers a slider for a strike. Right-handed hitters 5 for 28 against Scott coming in.
Yeah,
this is outside.
I think it's a confidence for sure for Tanner Scott, but I also think a little change in the mechanics as well. You know, he doesn't have that big high leg kick anymore. Just kind of picks the foot up and sets it down. And I think Doug Broquel really simplified things for him and said, let's keep it simple. Let's just pick it up as Valdez starts to get loose in that Oriole bullpen and just set it down. And I want you to go towards home plate. And that's worked as well.
They're saying that was a foul tip by Acuna. It's 1-2. What they did was they showed Scott what his percentage of strikes were when he was employing the higher leg kick, which he had been doing for quite some time, and then they showed him the difference when he went load and go, and it was completely different. And there he backdoors Acuna and strikes him out.
I tell you what hadn't been different is the Oriole pitchers are handling Ronald Acuna Jr. in this series. He does not have a hit. He has punched out now 3 times tonight, and that's a really good backdoor breaking ball by Tanner Scott to pick up the first out here in the top of the 8th inning.
Got him on just 4 pitches. Acuna now hitless in his last 18 at bats. Freddie Freeman, he has reached twice and scored the only Braves run that came back in the 6th inning. Came home on a balk by Dylan Tate. Saying that Freeman went around 1-1. One ball and 2 strikes against Freddie Freeman. They had 2 strikes against him in the 6th inning. He hit an opposite field single.
Yeah, he is so good with 2 strikes because he uses the whole field. The opposite field, you say that a lot when you talk about Freddie Freeman, you talk about DJ LeMahieu. That's why the averages are so high, because the ability to hit the ball to the opposite field.
And you pointed out as well at that short swing too, that
for a big guy, you know, most big guys have a longer swing, but he chokes up on the bat a little bit. He just kind of gets the head of the bat right to the zone very quickly. Not a lot of wasted action.
Lays off the slider. It's now full. Somebody that would, it's probably at the very top of the National League MVP conversation, but you have to factor in Fernando Tatis Jr. for what he has done with the Padres, and then Mookie Betts as well with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think all 3 of those guys are right at the top of the list. Tatis and Betts. Boy, Mookie Betts did not get off to a great start with the Dodgers, but he's finishing strong.
Scott, ground ball back to the mound. Albies is hung up between 2nd and 3rd. Tagged out. And what was Albies doing in that spot on the ground ball back to the mound?
That is just a mistake, a mental mistake by Albies. When you're at second base, you got to see the ground ball behind you. In other words, to the right side of the infield. This is right back to the pitcher. He has caught a nice job after making a bad throw, Tanner Scott, to start the inning. He takes his time. He runs at Albies, makes him commit, and then gives the ball up to the middle infielders. A rundown begins, and the Orioles pick up the 2nd out.
Well, Freeman with a smart base running, at least he gets to second base. Now here's Marcell Ozuna. A fly out, a pop out, and a ground out for Ozuna tonight. To see if we are hearing from Cesar Valdez in the 9th inning for the Orioles. Been warming up in the bullpen. Nasty slider from Scott.
He's got that slider going tonight. Not only does it have really good break, the guy's throwing 97, 98. You really kind of got to get it started as a hitter. And anything you can spin off speed really can be a good pitch. And with Tanner Scott's slider, it's got some good spin to it.
Opponent's hitting .094 off of Scott's slider this year, which is one of the lowest marks in all of baseball. Ozuna chase a pitch in the dirt, throw to 3rd, got him. Freeman trying to move up. Severino quickly gets rid of it. Alberto applies the tag.
Well, I tell you, he has had some struggles on defense at times, really the last week. Some balls has gotten by him, but Pedro Severino, watch this hustle. Ball shoots away. He realizes Freddie Freeman trying to move up. He grabs it and throws a dart, and Freddie Freeman is out, and that gets the Orioles off the field as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Join us tomorrow. O's and Rays open up an extended weekend series with a doubleheader. Starting pitchers, we know that Dean Kramer will be on the mound in at least one of the games for the Orioles. Coverage on MASN begins at 4 with those extra presented by PNC Bank, followed by game coverage at 4:30. We've got all the excess you need right here on MASN.
And new pitcher for the Braves, Tyler Matzik. He's been in 16 games, 3-3 record. Solid ERA of 3.6, 22 innings pitched. That's a good number. 32 punch-outs in just 22 innings. 7 walks along the way. Opponents are hitting just .239 off Tyler Matzik.
Takes over for Webb, who worked a scoreless inning with 1 strikeout. Orioles a 3-run third, a 2-run 6, 5 innings of scoreless baseball from Keegan Aiken with a career-high 9 strikeouts. Matzik will look at Iglesias, Mountcastle, and then Severino. Iglesias a 2-hit game. single back in the first, and then they singled and scored a run as part of the sixth. So he'll take a look at Matzik, a pitcher that overcame the yips, which is something that a lot of pitchers can never overcome. And that one got Iglesias on the foot.
Boy, just when he's really starting to move around good and getting healthy, you get one of these. Right off the back leg. That's right on the inside of the ankle. No pads there.
Mark Shires is going to go out and have a word with Iglesias, and Brandon Hyde, the Orioles manager, coming out as well to just chat with Iglesias. And it's just one of those things. He's had the quadriceps injury this year. He's had a couple of other things that he's been dealing with, and Iglesias, he's coming out of the game.
Yeah. Well, the Orioles up 5-1. Just need 3 more outs, and so it's one of those ones where he's going to go get some ice on that thing and maybe get in a boot. And boy, that's disappointing. Looks like Rio Ruiz coming in to pinch run for him.
He will come in. Mountcastle will step up to the plate. The nice thing is that you do have Velasquez in the game, so he could slide over and he could play shortstop. Mountcastle, sacrifice fly back in the 3rd inning. There's a strike. Matzik, he overcame the yips. This past July, he made his first appearance back in the major leagues since 2015. Went to independent baseball. Spent last year across the Braves minor league system. Castle down 0-2. Daniel Bard of the Rockies, he's also a pitcher that overcame the yips, and he returned to the major leagues with Colorado after 7 years away from the major leagues. Strike 3 called. Mountcastle might have been expecting something else.
Well, no yips on that one. Mid-90s fastball. Watch this, right at the bottom of the zone. Perfectly placed.
A strikeout. Ruiz down at first base, and Pedro Severino stepping up to the plate, made a great throw on a pitch in the dirt. Freeman tried to move up and was retired, bringing the top half of the inning to a close. Severino also has scored a run tonight. In the dirt for ball 1. Off the glove of Flowers, 2 balls and no strikes. Orioles have out hit the Braves 7-5. O's have made the lone error in the ball game. Would get to 22-27 with the victory and secure a series win against the Braves, something that a lot of teams have not been doing this year.
And the Braves have had their recent struggles here at Oriole Park.
Severino puts this one in the air to right field. Duvall makes the catch for out number 2. This season, every time an Orioles pitcher records a save, PNC will recognize a frontline healthcare worker from a University of Maryland Medical System hospital by donating a custom Orioles jersey and gift bag to that healthcare hero. And you bring up a good point, Ben, about their struggles here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Orioles, and they don't play the Braves every year, but those have still won the last 3 sets. against the Braves. It was coming in 2018, 2015, and 2012. Nunez takes a strike. Fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes. 2 RBI night for Renato Nunez. Gives him 27 on the year.
Yeah, you hope he's starting to heat back up again. Maybe get the long ball stroke going. Pedro Severino, a base hit last night, a base hit again tonight. So some of the guys that were really hot early in the year for the Orioles starting to get it going again.
When Nunez gets hot, he's often sending balls out of the ballpark, as we saw in a recent stretch. A whole bunch of home runs for him.
Because with the Rays coming to town for 5, that's not going to be an easy chore. The pitching staff they have, the offense is a big tick up for the Rays this year. Offense has kind of been middle of the road the last couple of years. The Rays have always won on pitching and defense, but now the offense is starting to match both of them, and that's why they're sitting at the top of the AL East.
And on the ground is second. Albies makes the play, and the side is retired. But the Orioles, they'll take a 5-1 lead. End of the ninth at Camden Yards. On Mass is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Big heart and low fares. Book now at southwest.com. Beautiful, albeit a cooler night in Baltimore. Orioles with a 5-1 lead as we start the ninth, and it's time for the Chief, Cesar Valdez.
The man with the dead fish, one of the best changeups in the game. 5 games he's been in. How about that record? 1-0. Doesn't have an ERA. 1-for-1 in save opportunities. Opponent's hitting just 139 at him. Off of him, rather. If you have not seen Cesar Valdez pitch, you're in for a treat. It's a low to mid 80s type fastball that he doesn't use very often, but it's a changeup, and he can manipulate it and sink it straight down. He can move it from right to left, left to right, it seems at times, and maybe spin you a breaking ball in there, but not many. It's pretty much a changeup off of a changeup.
Now he starts off with a dead fish in the dirt for ball 1. Bunch of changes for the Orioles on defense. They've got Rio Ruiz, who came on for Iglesias, who got hit by a pitch in the bottom of the 8th. Ruiz is at third. Andrew Velazquez at short. Second baseman is Hanser Alberto now. Got Austin Hayes. He's shifted from center to left, and then Cedric Mullins is playing in center field. That pitch is outside. 2-1. Said his nickname, the Chief. Teammates came up with that one for him. Well, as I said, I'm not going to throw all that hard. I'm not going to throw 98, 99, 100. But he can do that.
And he does it well, too. The vertical drop on this, which means just the downward action of it, is one of the best in baseball in his changeup. There it is. It's almost like a screwball. He really pronates his wrist. He kind of turns it over. The ball comes off the side of his hand with some really good spin, and you can see what it does. There it is again. The drop is almost unhittable when he throws it there and starts it right in the strike zone. By the time it travels that 60 feet 6 inches to the home plate, it is well below the zone. This is a good example of it. In the zone, out of the zone.
11 strikeouts for Orioles pitching in the game tonight. 9 of those coming from Keegan Aiken, who is in line for the win. Marcelo Zuna probably thinking to himself, I do not often see pitchers that have stuff like that.
There's your fastball. It's going to top out just about right there. 86 miles an hour.
Hit out to center field for a base knock. 1 on, 1 out. Dansby Swanson is next. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Jeff Arnold, Ben McDonald, and Rock Kabako. Orioles playing for a series win against the Braves. Cesar Valdez coming on after Tanner Scott pitched a scoreless 8th. Swanson in the air to center. Mullins flags it down. Orioles with 1 out away. Stay tuned for O's Extra presented by WB Mason following the game. Who but WB Mason for personal protective equipment and more. Brett and Bordy standing by. Ready to bring you what seems like it will be a happy recap tonight. Orioles 1 out away. On game 1, 14-1. Tonight got good starting pitching and then 2 good innings offensively. The 3rd they got 3, the 6th they got 2. Change up in for a strike. Duvall got a single off of Hunter Harvey in the 7th. Rays have been held to just 6 hits tonight. Swings through a changeup, 0-2.
It's a team that came in with a .270 batting average, 2nd best in the National League. Well, Oriole pitching for 2 of the 3 nights have been really good, and really it wasn't bad last night. The Braves got a couple runs late in the ball game, but all in all, it was a solid pitching performance for Oriole pitchers again last night.
Cued back to the mound. Valdez does his job, and the Orioles take 2 out of 3 against the Atlanta Braves tonight at Camden Yards. Great pitching, 2 big innings. It's an Orioles win and a series win against Atlanta. We'll be right back.